Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Heather Halliday, a certified nutritional therapist with Essential Wellness Northwest, and of course, Keely's mom. I have a super exciting interview for you today, so I hope that you will share this interview, you will like this interview, you will give us tons of comments and lots of hearts and emojis, all the fun things, because Susan and I want to get our max. So we have to beat 2,200 views. So we're counting on you to help us. So I want to also tell you that I have a special treat for you. I will be having a give. So hang around to the end of the broadcast so I can share with you what that is. And in the meantime, I want to introduce you to Susan Palmer Wood. Here she is, this lovely lady. I'm going to tell you just a couple things about Susan, and then we're going to dive into this interview because it's going to be super fascinating, and I know you guys are all going to be super excited about this. So after years of being chased by unworthiness, suffering from multiple health crises, and a dark night of the soul, Susan Palmer Wood finally let go of the lifestyle and beliefs that were making her sick and went on an inspired journey to heal her body, mind, and her spirit. Dedicated to sharing what she's learned, Susan is passionate about helping people move out of their suffering and into a vibrant life full of possibilities. Her signature Breakthrough to Freedom process incorporates cutting-edge strategies that set you free from what's keeping you stuck in just a few short days, not years. Susan is a mindset energy coach, a master NLP and mental emotional release practitioner, a Reiki master, energy worker, and a certified holistic health coach. So welcome, Susan.
Thanks so much, Heather.
You are more than qualified to help us out today, for sure. Oh my gosh. Do you have anything to add to what I shared with people?
I am insatiably curious. And, while for a long time, I sought a lot of things like maybe this will fix me, maybe this will fix me. And so I thought I needed all of these certifications and such. And then, when I really figured out who I am and what I wanted, then I pursued the things that fulfilled me and helped me serve others. That was aligned to me instead of trying to fix me.
Well, and the truth is too, is because I'm no different. If we are in this industry of helping people, we want to have a stacked toolbox. So the more experiences that we have, the more that we'll be able to help people in a lot of different ways as opposed to one narrow path. So I think it's fantastic that you have all these certifications and all these things to help our audience too.
Yeah, it's fun. There's definitely a toolbox of things. So my clients, they are going to get breakthroughs and shifts and support. We're going to help them.
Great. Well, one thing that jumped out at me in reading your bio is you talk about the dark night of the soul. And I bet a couple other people out there were kind of curious what that actually means. So what is a dark night of the soul?
Oh my gosh. It means that I completely forgot who I was, what was important to me, what my purpose was. And I'll tell you a little bit of how I got there, if that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
So, like so many of us, I had a tough childhood. There was some, abuse and abandonment feelings. And I internalized, our beliefs we get so young from like 0 to 3. And even before we come into this life, we just like how people say I'm predisposed to cancer because it's carried down through genes. We also get beliefs carried down from generations, from past lifetimes, etc. But anyway, when I was younger, I developed beliefs that I wasn't lovable and that I wasn't worthy and that I wasn't enough. And so I'm going to be 48 next month. And I spent the majority of my life trying to find significance outside of myself and trying to find significance and validation, and at the same time not receiving it because I didn't believe I deserved it. And so I found that significance and validation in work. And so I had a big 6-figure job, and I worked 65 to 70 hours a week. And it didn't matter. I wasn't fulfilled. And what I learned later is success without fulfillment equals burnout. So it was kind of inevitable. But not only was I working myself to death, and I was a single mom for about 10 years, I was also beating myself up constantly. So while I had this big job, I was constantly in fear that people were going to figure out I didn't know what the hell I was doing, right? That fraud syndrome. Like I don't know enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not enough of a mom. I was constantly comparing myself to others. And it wasn't like I'm sitting there thinking these things. These were just ruminating thoughts in the back of my head. And
I can say for certainty, I mean, I guarantee you most of our audience can completely relate to what you're saying. And isn't it crazy that somehow in this culture, in this environment, that somehow bringing ourselves down or cutting ourselves down, or the fact that we've had experiences in the past somehow minimizes who we are or what our worth is? It's devastating. So I'm hoping that people hear this conversation today and realize that they're not alone, that everything you said is probably something that just about everybody can relate to. And there are ways to heal. And it's about finding that connection with somebody that you can really resonate with, that can take you from where you are to where you want to be. So thank you so much for sharing that piece of yourself. That's, to some people, they might consider it vulnerability, but I actually call it bravery, and I call it, an absolute must. And I have, my own story. So I completely can resonate with that.
Well, and I love what you said about reaching out. And it's one of the reasons why I love being a coach is because when I was going through all of that, I thought I had to hide it. Like everyone has always said, I'm the happiest, most positive person in the world. And I kind of knew when something was wrong when people stopped commenting on my smile, because they say, you have such a big smile. And when that stopped, I'm like, people are starting to tell that there's something wrong. And so I thought I had to do it all myself. Because I felt so less than that if I shared it, then people would really know what's going on. And so, why I really wanted to share this and why it's important to health is because eventually that all took a toll on my body. Being in fight or flight for so long killed my body. And so my dark night of the soul was not only emotional, but I couldn't get off the closet floor at one point. I burned out my adrenals completely, had chronic fatigue, had autoimmune diseases, couldn't digest my food, thyroid issues, like it was foggy brain, and it was terrible. So finding someone that you can talk to and really looking inside and starting this journey is key. So I just wanted to say, you're right. Like, you don't have to face it alone, and you're so not alone.
No. And not only that, but I hope our audience heard, Susan wasn't talking about anything that happened to her. She was talking about the magnitude of stress that was happening on her outside as well as her inside. So we don't have to have, these diseases to fall apart. Absolutely, it can come from an emotional aspect. And I think a lot of people compartmentalize, that word that I can't say right now, but we put things in boxes as opposed to looking at our whole selves. So that's another great highlight that I hope people take away from that, is that yes, all these different aspects of our lives, if they're feeling out of control, do have an effect on our health. And finding that person that you can connect with that will help you through that process is absolutely key. Absolutely key. So I want to start, here we've already chatted and we haven't even really gotten into our questions because I think there's just so much about you and the content of what you have to deliver. But I want to learn a little bit more. You talked a little bit about your journey to healing, but is there anything in particular that kind of pulled you out of this dark night of the soul phase and into who Susan Palmer Wood is today?
Yeah, I love how whenever we get together, it just flows. So thanks for being you. Yeah. How it really helped was so my body gave out. I didn't have a choice. Mm-hmm. I So when I got burned down to the ground and I couldn't leave my house for a few months, I just didn't have the energy. I started, because I'm a doer, I'm an achiever, I can't help it. I had to learn how to be. I even asked for a worksheet on how to be. I didn't know what that meant. So I started studying what burnout is and the effects of stress on the body. And I learned that burnout happens when you're not in alignment with who you are. And it's kind of like, you know, how you hear that, you know, like God throws a pebble and then a rock and then a boulder and then pretty much everything flies, you know,
right,
to get your attention. And so I wasn't listening. And so it all fell down. So I had to go on the inside and I had to learn who I am, you know, elicit my values. What do I like? What is play? How do I have fun? Give myself permission to take naps, give myself permission to take 3-hour-long baths. To go outside and to not have to be doing all the time. That when I learned how to be, the doing and having flow naturally.
Well, and the thing is that I want to re-emphasize to people too, all these things that Susan just talked about that actually have been helping her with her health, they weren't like going to doctors, spending tons of money. These are all valuable self-care tools that helped you get to where you are today without, it doesn't have to be expensive, folks, but we do need to find somebody that can actually hold our hand in the process of healing so it doesn't become overwhelming, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely spent a lot of money before I understood that. In fact, so when I left my job, finally, I said, I didn't know what I'm going to do, but it's not this. And I choose me. Finally, I choose me. And so I went to Bali by myself for a couple of weeks.
Wow.
And I had some different healers. And you know what? They all told me, don't worry, be happy. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just be happy. You know, like if it was that easy, I'd just be happy. And, you know, and one of them said, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you don't understand. I have this and I have this and I have this. I have a suitcase full of supplements. They're like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You need to get on your path. You need to stop stressing.
Yeah.
Be happy and start living your purpose. And as you heal others, you will also heal yourself.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, well, who the hell are you? You have no idea. Right. And then when I came back to the States and I found neurolinguistic programming and learned the power of thoughts and how that impacts our entire life, our unconscious mind drives 95% of our behavior. That's when everything changed. So to your point, the thing that changed was in here.
Absolutely. Mindset is so key. And if anybody takes anything away from today's interview, I want you to hear this, that our thought processes absolutely influence our health and our belief systems. So if we can get straight in our mind and in our heart, that does so much for our overall health. It's so impactful. So impactful. Will you talk a little bit about the unconscious mind? Do you have anything that you want to add to it? I mean, why does it matter so much? Why is it such a huge part of our health and our health system?
Yeah, so there's so much that I could say about unconscious health that I take my clients through. So with time, I'll try and focus on the things that I think were most impactful for me and for my clients. And one is, have you heard of we only use 10% of our brains? Have you heard that old? Right. Well, it's not true, because if anyone who's had brain trauma, or if I cut out, you know, part of your brain, like it doesn't work. So what it is that we only use about 10% of our brain consciously. Mm-hmm. The rest of it is unconscious. So our unconscious mind and our higher self make up like 90 to 95% of who we are. And the unconscious mind drives our behaviors, and they do so with the intention of keeping us safe. They run the body, so they beat our hearts. So we don't have to think about it and all the blood and all of that. And they also store memories with pictures. And the thing that I found so fascinating about that is that we have an internal representation or a picture for everything. So as you think about how much you love Keely, you probably have a picture, right? Mm-hmm. And whenever you think about someone that you don't like, or something you don't like, you have another picture. Well, there are submodalities that are associated with those pictures. And what that means is that picture is either, there's a visual, auditory, kinesthetic, gustatory, and olfactory component of that picture. And so with something that you like, it might be a color picture, and the picture might be this big and it might be this close, right? And it might give you this feeling and you hear these things. And something that you don't like might be black and white. It may be still, it may be small, it may be way over here. And so, you know, what's important to know about that is that in order for us to change, we need to change the pictures in our mind. And we can do that by changing the submodalities. And I do, you know, that's how I help people who have allergies. I just help someone get rid of a cat allergy in about 15 minutes that he's had his entire life. Give up food cravings, addictions, bad habits that are sabotaging you, right? It's all in the mind. Our unconscious mind stores all of our memories and represses emotions until we're ready to deal with them. Yeah. So when you have something like, let's say I was really nervous before coming on. And no, let's just pretend. And, you know, what we do is when we can't feel our feelings, or we weren't taught how to feel our feelings, or, you know, especially as girls, you know, don't cry in the workplace, or men don't express your feelings, we push them down and we shove them down. And it's like pushing a beach ball underwater, and eventually it smacks us in the face. And so our unconscious mind is keeping track of all of that for us. And it also holds all of our beliefs, and those beliefs, like I told you earlier. So a way to put it into practical terms is, have you ever set a goal that you didn't accomplish?
I think most people have, right?
Right. So there's a couple of reasons why. One is, do you know your why? Is it really important to you? Is it aligned with your values? Mm-hmm. But also, your conscious mind is the goal setter. Like consciously, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to start going to the gym. Your unconscious mind is the goal getter. So if you have beliefs that I don't want to lose the weight because then I'll have attention, and getting attention isn't safe, then you're going to sabotage yourself, right? If you have beliefs that if I do this, then this, and they're unconscious, then, you know, you're going towards your goal and your unconscious mind takes you this way. And so it's really important for you to understand your unconscious. Now, your unconscious mind also works, you know, in your favor, right? It takes everything personally. And once you start to, and it takes commands. So as soon as you know how to work with your unconscious mind, then you can start living your life with purpose and passion. It's amazing. But I think people just don't understand how powerful it is. It's really driving our behaviors unconsciously.
Definitely. And again, that all goes back to mindset and belief systems and how we feel about ourselves. And there's so many things that happen within our body that have to do with our unconscious mind that I don't think most people are aware of that. So if we can give that awareness to them, that there is some sort of control that we have over the ability to heal ourselves, that we can actually shift our mindset, change our perspective, step outside of the box that we've, you know, compartmentalized ourselves into, and reach beyond that, we have the ability to start a healing process. And that's phenomenal. That's absolutely phenomenal. So I have so many more questions for you, but I cannot even believe that we are coming up against our time.
Oh my God.
Right?
That was so fast.
Oh my gosh. But here's what I do want to ask, because I know that most people like tips. They like different things that can kind of help them along. We shared a lot of information, and we were talking a lot about mindset and belief systems. Is there anything that you can share with our viewers that might help them in this process of being more connected to their unconscious mind or becoming more conscious?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is just to become aware. So as you have a thought, or as you notice, as you notice a thought or belief come up, just become curious. We have the same thoughts today. Like, I don't know, 85, 90% of the same thoughts that we had today that we had yesterday and the day before that and the year before that and the decade before that, right? Because we spend so much time living in the past or worrying about the future. So start paying attention to it. And, this is once you know who you are, what you want, and where you're going, then get curious. Is this thought bringing me towards what I want or away from what I want? And Louise Hay has a fantastic book called Heal Your Life that I use every single day with clients. That also tells the effects of, your emotions and thoughts on your body. But just start getting curious and then question them. Is this correct? And does this help?
What the name of that book is?
I'm sorry?
What's the name of Louise Hay's book that you're referring to?
Oh, You Can Heal Your Life. You
Can Heal Your Life. That's fantastic. So that's something, folks, that you can look on Amazon to kind of start that process of changing your mindset and your belief system. I think that's amazing. So I have no doubt that people are going to want to reach out to you because you have some amazing tools. You have a lot of tools in your toolbox. What is the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Just go to SusanPalmerWood.com. And if anyone is interested in talking with me about, some things in their past or things they just can't get past and they're feeling stuck and don't know why, you can actually schedule a complimentary coaching call with me, and I would be happy to talk to you about what's going on, give you tips right then that you can carry on. And if we decide to work together, then that would be my honor as well.
Well, that's fantastic. And I'll be sure to share your website address below in the comments as soon as we finish up. So I just want to say thank you so much, Susan, for taking time out of your day. I have no doubt that we need to schedule another interview because we have so much more to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Our viewers would be very interested in hearing what you have to say. So thank you so much, Susan. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your day to be with us, share your expertise, and help our viewers along the path to healing. There's so many different ways when we think about healing. So many people just think of going to a doctor or taking a medication. But now we're kind of stretching that idea of including meditation and yoga and natural healing foods and herbs and, this mindset belief. There's so many different ways to heal our body. And I'm just so pleased that I got to interview you today to kind of expose people to another thought around healing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add before we close up today?
I just want to say that if anyone is suffering, know that you don't have to suffer. Like, we are meant to feel good. And when you feel good, you're able to do good in the world. And that's what I'm really passionate about.
Yes.
So you don't have to suffer alone. Please reach out.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you so much, Susan. I will be in contact with you soon, and hang tight, viewers. I got just a little bit more to share with you. So thank you again, Susan. And I just want to tell you that if you guys are struggling in your journey to health, feel free to reach out to Susan, but I also want to tell you that you can reach out to me too. So as I promised, I want to give you a little something that will help you in your journey towards healing. I have a new shopper's guide. I've taken 20 years of life experience and nutritional therapy experience and combined my knowledge into this awesome resource to help you navigate whole, nutrient-dense healing foods. I know how frustrating and how difficult changing your eating habits can be, and I hope that my shopper's guide will help you make the changes you need just a little bit easier. So to get your copy, I'm going to put a link in the comments below, but you're essentially going to go to Essential Wellness, NW for Northwest.com/resources. You can put in your information and a shopper's guide will be delivered into your inbox. And I want to tell you a little bit because there's so many different types of coaches out there, and I know that it can be really overwhelming trying to navigate of who you need and want in your life. So I want to tell you a little bit what a nutritional therapist is, because there's a difference between what I do and maybe some other nutritional health coaches out there. So I have an education and a background and a certification, having studied under Nutritional Therapy Associates out of Olympia. I spent hundreds of hours researching with professionally curated information, and my education has taught me how to work with so many different health concerns. So I work with everybody that has autoimmune disorders. They struggle with fatigue. They have brain fog. They have skin irritations. They have low energy, or maybe they're just simply feeling off. So I want to help you. If that sounds like it's something that resonates with you, please feel free to reach out. So thank you again so much. Thank you, everyone. I am Heather Halliday with Essential Wellness Northwest, coming to you live from Redmond, Washington, where true healing is happening as we speak. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day.